Welcome back to the lab. So yesterday we were mucking around, we put some paint on this thing and the results are ambiguous. It is an improvement on what it had. It's probably not quite up to the standard that I wanted, but yeah, I've been wanting to paint it red. All this lockdown kerfuffle making it actually a little bit harder than what I'd like. To just go and get some red paint would be nice. So I had to talk about, I had made an error earlier on when I made this thing four-wheel drive and got some dimensions wrong. I made that engine cover the same as what the other one was, except nicer. And then I realised that these distances here were all a big stuff up. So I've changed that, so now that's scrap metal basically, if we want to have a nice one rather than something that's been made and chopped and changed. No big deal, bit of time. There's not a lot of money in material that'll go down the drain. As I talked about, we moved these bars in the roll cage. That's what all this is all about now, to give us some more height in between the manifold and that bar, the harness bar, so we can run a much better plenum on there, and that kind of renders that engine cover obsolete anyway. Now there's only one way that's going to work, and that's to chop and change that, and it always looks like someone has chopped and changed things, so that's fine. We'll put that aside. I'll make another one, and I'm not going to start on, there's many different ways of organizing this firewall. I could start at the bottom and work my way up, but in this case the top, from this sort of general fuzzy area where my three fingers are there, from there up, that's going to be pretty much the same as what it was, except done slightly differently. So I'm going to start with that, and then I'm going to work my way down to fill in the bits in between. And we haven't put paint on here yet on this roll cage, because I'm going to put a couple of brackets off that to fix the firewall to, because previous incarnation had this massive big firewall and there was nothing holding it other than the covers that went around the harness bars to cover up the harnesses. That was the only thing that really clamped onto the roll cage. So we had this massive big thing that was doing this effectively, except for the grommets that are around the roll cage, like I say. Speaking of grommets, I'll do a nicer job of that this time. So this harness bar here, the diagonal, and the other harness bar might have some little brackets put on there to secure everything and try and hold it somewhere near square. I mean, it's shiny and it's the right colour, isn't it? But nah, it's definitely, oh, crash, sorry. If you get up close and personal to it, it's definitely not the prettiest thing in the world, but hey, it's an improvement on what we had. That's old, that's new, that's better than that. Whether it's good enough, I'm yet to decide. I can, I guess, attack it all, re-prep it all, do a nicer job. Actually clean the gun this time. Don't use your spray painting gun without cleaning it, assuming you cleaned it last time, because you may not have. Bad boy clean. Bad. Okay, let's make a start. Well, I already did make a start. Over here, I took the original window out of the original piece of aluminium. That was a waste of time. Once I started taking it off, I realised she's pretty stuffed anyway, lots of cracks. We'll start with this piece here, and we'll figure out what we need to chop off. We'll stick the pieces onto the sides, and we'll make this as one assembly right the way across the top without this big join here. We'll probably put a fold along the bottom of it to give it some strength, and see where we end up. Template assembled, more or less. Just a couple of rivets just to hold it together, so we can muck around and figure out what horrible mistakes I made last time I was working on this. I can already see something that doesn't look right. That doesn't look right. We've got a bigger gap between the top of the window and the roof on the right hand side than what we have on the left hand side. So I've got to figure out what's going on there. I'm sure I probably worked it out so that was level in the car, but clearly it doesn't look right now today while we're mucking around with it. And we've got, I think that's 1.2 and that's 1.6, and that's 1.6. So we can do this all from 1.2 and make it later, more betterer. Let's. I'm going to go put it in the car and see where it's wrong and start mucking around with it and get this all in the shape that I want. And that's my template to cut out a new piece. It's interesting. I think the window's square, level, parallel to the car, whatever. Or very, very close. I think it's the edge that you can't see from here. I think it's that top edge where it meets the roof structural support or whatever it is, the one with the bolt missing. Don't forget to put the extra bolt in there. Oh, it's hard to see. That bolt, can you see it? It's missing. Must have fallen out at some point. Okay, so I just need to trim that edge of that to line up a bit better. And I've marked where the seats go so that we get our harness holes in the right spot. Not like what happened here. I have no idea what happened here. You can see those two black lines, that's where the box should be, but that box came way out over there for some reason. A stuff up on my behalf way back in the day. Template more or less under control. Standard aluminium sheet width. Annoying race car wasting lots of material width. Damn it. If we make this piece shorter, oh, that's not going to work out, is it? We can do the top section above the window across a sheet. So at the end of the sheet, then we have to do a little piece down here. So that's not really going to help us much. Never mind, we'll do that as per what it is there in one piece. Nice. One piece fits relatively good. Obviously there's got to be some sort of a seal around where the bars go through there. I'm doing something a little bit different this time to what I had done previous time. And because of the laws of physics, the main firewall tucks behind that corner there and in front of that corner there. It's because it's physically impossible to actually get it in front of that because of reasons. Reasons being that angle, the 45-degree bar that's coming down there. As you bring that firewall forward, it forces it up, and it can't go up because it clashes with that bar that's above it. So that's why that's tucked in behind there for now. I mean, in the final install I might see if I can persuade it to be where I want it to be without scratching too much paint and bending aluminium to look like mud. You can see how much more room we've got there above that plenum. That's awesome. Right, so next step is to make the pieces that go on the sides, 1, 2, and figure out what we're doing with the actual engine cover. Get in there. Oh no, we've made a robot face again. Sad face. Eyes. That could be a nose, I guess. That could be the mouth in there, maybe. Anyway, that should be a bit lighter than what was in there, but actually more effective as well. We've got less joins. Joins will let flame and gas through and all that sort of liquid and stuff and things. So we've got less of that going on. Ideally, any joins, you want them this way around. So when fluid splashes onto the other side and runs down, it can't run back up and over the top of that sheet. So we'll just have to bear that in mind with the joints for the boxes over the top of the harness bars. Can't do much with the stuff at the bottom. I could potentially redesign that just a little bit. There's a couple of ideas that are in my head. Both of those sections have a flat on the top of them. The bottom across there could actually be folded 90 degrees in that direction so that any gases, fluids at least, they'll come down the back side of that sheet and they'll run away from trying to come this way, whereas as it is at the moment they'll just come straight through unless that's sealed, which of course it is. There's somewhere over here, there's Where are they? Yeah. Forget that. Anyway, we've successfully turned a large sheet of aluminium into a smaller sheet and some smaller pieces. We've got some leftover stuff to get rid of. That's pretty much just scrap aluminium, so is this. I haven't weighed it all, but it's pretty chunky and heavy compared to 1.2, so there'll be some weight loss there. How much? We don't know. You can just guess. So a bit of a test fit. It still looks like a face, doesn't it? A big nose. Anyway, a bit of a test fit of the engine cover just to see where we're at, how far wrong it is. Obviously, I'm not going to modify it to make it fit. That's not really an option. I could probably chew up more time doing that, trying to save $15 worth of aluminium and burn more than that in gas with the TIG welder. But our angles, surprisingly enough, are actually still pretty good. That's not bad. Everything works out not bad, except for the height. We can lift that up, whatever it is, that much, and we'll be alright. With the shape, down the bottom there, obviously we're too far out, but at least it gives me a bit of a template to work with. And then I can use some clamps. Ta-da! And we can smash that up, clamp it in place, and take a look on the other side and see where we're at and see if there's going to be any potential changes based on what we see. I think it should be right. There should be heaps of room, but it doesn't hurt if you can have a look. Let's see where you're at. Then I might see something and go, hey, why don't I do this instead? Down comes the rain. So, like I say, that's clamped up. I tried to use the other clamp on the other side. It hits the diagonal bar and pushes everything out of whack, so we'll leave that off. It seems to be staying there by itself for now, so it's all good. If we were in a mad rush and we had to use this like tomorrow or something, I would just build an adapter in between here and there. Screw it all up, should be right. Away you go. Brum brum. But we're not in a mad rush, heaps of time. Not going to do that. Look at all the room for activities. That's much, much, much better. So good. Engines like a little bit of space around them to dissipate radiant heat and all that sort of carry on. So although the bulk of the engine's right out in the open here and there's no problems at all with that, it's not very nice for the front end there being shoehorned into a tiny little spot like it was before. It definitely isn't now. Alright, that side of it's not apparently going to be an issue, although I have talked, I do probably want to lean that seat back a little bit. We should be alright anyway. These sides that are welded in here, this piece here that's in the middle of your screen, they can be on a bit of an angle now. They can, instead of being quite flat this way, they can go that way a little bit. Chamfer off. There's heaps of room now, so that won't hurt anything, and that'll give us more room for the seat. I think that's pretty much the corner it's going to hit, so if we shift that corner down, it'll give it lots more room. Won't be any issues there. Definitely need to consider moving something here. That's not ideal. Chamfer that side off as I discussed a few seconds ago. That should fix that. Alright, that's not looking terrible. Got some insulation and stuff ordered. Things happening. This is all still... We'll tidy this up. Don't worry about that. I will make that better. Okay, alright. Cheers, bye.